So what do you think about buying big plastic bins of freeze-dried food?
Yeah, you should have. That's a short-term solution. It's not going to get you through the Great Depression.
Yeah, no, it's not. No, it's not.
It's not going to get you through post-Civil War down south living. It's gonna get you through 2 weeks without power at most. Maybe a year if you get a whole stockpile of it. But no, you got to have a mindset of, can I live? Am I going to be able to live like I have to live when that time comes? Like to simplify your life. Am I going to be? You've got a daughter that lives in New York City. Okay, obviously she's not going to be able to live in New York City. It's going to be burned down and looted, which it almost is now.
Yeah.
Okay, is she going to be ready to come to, New Jersey or Maine or where? New Jersey's probably still too close in that situation. I don't know. But Pennsylvania, Maine to live, is she going to be able to say, okay, this has happened with we'll just use the Great Depression for a baseline.
Yeah.
Great Depression has happened. Everybody's jumping out of the buildings in New York City. All right, we're going to hang out in Maine for 20 years and get our life back together.
Yeah.
Is your family ready for that? Are your close one? Everybody you're close to ready for that?
No.
Whether they're trained or not, the training doesn't matter. It's just in their mind. You got to be ready for that stuff. You got to always have that. Live like you live. I live very, very modern. Do everything modern. Everything I got is power. Everything I got. But in the back of my brain, I'm like, I might have to cut my firewood by hand because I'm not going to be able to get any gas someday.
Well, the fact that you use firewood in the first place suggests you're not totally modern.
Right.
So you burn firewood?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, probably 8 cords a year.
How much is 8 cords?
A wheeler load, a truck load. When you see the big truck going down the road, that's about 8 cord.
I'm just saying this I know how much that is. So you burn it for heat?
Yeah. And my father burns wood. I have an oil furnace backup. I bought 100 gallons of oil when I moved into my house, which was 10 years ago.
Yeah. And
I probably burned 10 of that 100 gallons.
So
I just turn the furnace on every year to make sure it works. That's about it. So
you burn your house on your farm is not tiny, but it's not huge. And you burn 8 cords of wood. What does it cost? What does it take to prepare that wood?
If I buy it tree length, which I have before, the truck comes, it drops it off tree length. I would say with the machinery that I have, which is a hydraulic splitter and a dump trailer and a conveyor and a chainsaw and a tractor and all the stuff every farm has, I'd say a week.
A week.
If I don't do it straight, I'd do a couple hours after supper type stuff. But yeah, it would be a week. If I took a week off, I could get my firewood done. If 2 weeks, I could do mine and my father's together, probably. If I have to cut the tree down and drag it out of the woods, then it's probably 2 weeks.
So what is that, just for people who don't cut their own firewood, 8 cords of wood? Or how many cords
About 35 trees is 8 cords.
And how many cords does your dad burn a winter?
Probably 6 to 8. We'll just call it 8. We each burn a load a year.
So of all the things that worry you, power grid going down is probably got to be at the bottom, right?
Yeah, no, not big. Other than food storage, my freezer. I don't know if I think things would have to really get bad to not be able to get any gasoline and diesel at the stores. I don't know. It depends on how bad things got. If it was like a war situation, it would be bad. I mean,
right, if the refinery shut down.
Yeah, if the refinery shut down and how much, you're not going to waste that gas mowing your lawn.
No.
You need to run a generator, for your food. You're not going to drive you're not going to just drive for the sake of driving somewhere if you've got to have that gas to live off. I don't know how bad it's going to get, but you can store food without power. You can can the meat like they did. You can butcher, get all your neighbors together. Okay, we're going to butcher a cow today.
Yeah.
So you cut it up accordingly. So that's how they did it in the old days before refrigeration. The butchered things accordingly so the meat would get used up fast enough. So, and small animals were developed in the olden days, we'll call them, for a lot of times for refrigeration purposes. If you're one family out in the middle of the, plains living, you're not going to butcher a cow in the middle of July.
Right.
You're going to butcher a sheep that you can eat
Exactly.
fast
Before it
enough
spoils.
Before it spoils. Or you're going to can it. But canned meat's not my favorite thing.
Yeah, you get botulism, which we now think of as like the core ingredient in Botox, but it's also.
I think people's they're just I would say prepping would be a more of just a way to start thinking about things. Like, like I said, is your family ready?
I mean, it's hard to imagine it if you've been the beneficiary of 100 years of modernity and ease and wealth.
Right. And we've all had an easy life.
That's exactly right.
I've had a super easy life as far as that kind of stuff goes. I mean, we all work hard and do things, but.
So what do you store now? And I should say I didn't even introduce you. This is Patrick Feeney, lives in Maine, has had every kind of job imaginable, and lives basically, from my perspective, you live pretty close to off-grid. Like, you produce most of your food at home on your farm. Animals, you've got a pretty amazing grow operation.
Yeah.
For how many different vegetables do you grow?
Oh, I don't know. I'm more of a McDonald's French fry type of guy, but
your wife.
My wife grows everything you can imagine. Lettuce, beets. I like corn on the cob. I like all the potatoes. I love potatoes. Any vegetable you can think of. Salad greens, carrots, greenhouse.
But more than enough to live.
Oh yeah, she supplies food to 3 restaurants in town and sells to 20 different people. So she supplies plenty.
So you're good to go with food. So
we're good to, and I would say storage would not be I would say the food's almost, storage is, you got to think that short term with any food. You get your long term storage, the buckets that you buy. Yeah, that's long. I don't know. Are those really going to be good in 100 years?
You wonder.
Have you ever eaten a 30-year-old MRE?
No.
I have. It's not.
Why are you eating 30-year-old MRE?
Just to try it. I found one a couple of years ago that I had left over from the Army. It wasn't that. I never really liked them in the Army, and I really don't like them now. 30 years from now, the same one.
So what do you stockpile?
Meat in the freezer. Now that's a catch. That could bite me in the ass because of the electrical grid.
Yeah.
Hopefully, freezer doesn't use much juice, so you could have your little 1,000-watt Honda generator, fire it up for an hour a day, plug your freezer in, get it cold. You could do that for a while.
What kind of meat do you store?
Mostly deer and moose, and if we haven't had, we got a pig. We got 2 pigs we just bought today. They're gonna raise them. But boy, they look awful tasty, that size right there. I might just have a little pig party.
Well, you texted me a picture and said they were so cute. You already think about eating them?
Yeah, they look, they're very tasty. Pig roast is very, very fun.
Are there enough mammals in the woods to support?
Right now, I think that the end of and I believe, I forget who was talking about this. Might have been on one of your shows, but when that might have been Ted Nugent. When the shit hits the fan, how long is it going to be? There's not, in areas like we're pretty rural here, but we're not that rural. You can drive, there's a road everywhere. We're not like northern Maine. There's not going to be any deer really fast.
Yeah.
The woods around here aren't that big. In this particular area, these deer are going to be gone fast. The mountains it's mountainous, and it's a 5-mile hike to the next road, but 5 miles isn't that far.
Yeah.
And, the game is going to go fast. It's going to be during the Depression, the game went fast. Early night in the, in the
30s. I mean,
my father said when he was a kid, and that would have been the 50s. If somebody saw a deer where he grew up in southern Maine, it was in the paper. I mean, it was just, if one popped out, it got shot.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to happen if things get bad. There's enough people that know you're not gonna self-preservation. No matter how messed up your life is or what's going on, if you're starving to death and a dog steps out in front of you, as much as you might love dogs, if your family's dying, guess what?
Yeah, dogs do.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
There's no way I would do it. I would probably die before I ate a dog. But
I would too. Yeah. But in a famine, the neighbor's kids aren't safe.
Right.
I mean, people get really...
That's the problem. I think that's something more to think about. Is it ever going to get that bad? I would like to think not. I like to think that people aren't like that. I don't know. I mean, so you travel more than I do and witness how cultures act. I don't think there's too many cultures that are like that now worldwide, where they're just knocking people down and taking over. You know what I mean?
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.